you want to come straight through.
Yep. So that way it looks like that. All right. So that one's for, I did one for you?
Yeah.
Or, yep. There you go. And then what I do usually is this one's yours, is I usually take out, you know, one eye, one hook in the flashaboo. That way I'm ready. This one's for you. That's your thread. And I'm going to set up mine for doing this.
Check it
out. Yeah, if you want to, you can sit in the middle, that way you kind of all can.
Like you take one of these little beads out.
Yeah, you're gonna take out, we'll start walking through it. Hey everybody, sorry for that, glad everything's better. Hopefully this camera setup is gonna be a little bit better. You're not gonna be able to see my face very much, but I'll still be here in spirit. So really what we're gonna do, and we have two fellow tyers here in the shop, so if I look off into the distance, that's who I'm talking to. And for you guys here, sorry if I'm staring into a camera.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So welcome. We got a great new camera set up to stream everything. Hopefully this goes a little bit better. Please, as usual, leave your feedback in the comments. We do really listen. We're not going to be... we can't do this without you guys, so we really want to make sure this is the best it possibly can be for you guys. So, alright, let's get to tying. We'll start over a little bit. So here is the Kreelex. It is a deadly little streamer pattern tied Clouser style, but just with flashaboo or tinsel as opposed to bucktail. It was designed by a Virginia man named Bob Kraft to look like a normal spoon or a spinnerbait or whatever. All it's supposed to do is just flash and roll around in the water. And I've caught everything from trout to smallmouth to even some carp. Taken it into the salt and done very well for everything from barracuda to striped bass to redfish to even some bonefish. So let's get tying, let's get some of these flies in your box, and then we'll have Pete will pop in here and we'll tie a little quick remix pattern with material from the previous kit, which is pretty exciting. So let's get tying. So to start, you're going to do your usual. You're just going to, what you're going to do is get a nice little thread base down to tie your bead chain eyes on. So I'm just going to make a nice little cross hatching there for it to nestle into. And then we're just going to trim off this thread off the top. Let's toss that over to the side. We're going to take our bead chain eyes here and we're going to attach them real quick.
Yeah. So there you go. It was upside down.
So the trick to tying in bead chain eyes is to start with them parallel to the hook shank when you start in your tie, and then as you tie in it'll come to the side and get it to the way you want it to be. Hey Jed, funny.
Good.
Alright, so I'm going to make a little nest there with a couple of thread wraps. One trapping wrap, two, and then pull.
What I found the most comfortable for me.
And you will see that it'll kind of come.
Alright, now this is going to be something.
Here we go. Let's see if I can get this for you guys. It's going to sit perpendicular here. And we're just going to get a couple wraps. So I'm just doing this so you guys can see. And then I'm going to pull it back perpendicular so I can tie it down. And I like to look over top of my hook to make sure my eyes are going to be perpendicular to the shank, and just to make sure it gets nice. And then I'm just going to keep, you can add wraps on either side, so you're going across over the top, under, between the two eyes, over, between the two eyes. So let me show you guys that real quick. So you're going to come over like that, under, and over like that again. Everybody see that? Alright, we're going to bring this back down even. And then when you're done, what I like to do is kind of come over and around the little stem of thread you've created. And all this does when you come around like that, it just builds a little bit, it kind of locks in the eyes for you. So as you can see, I kind of took the thread around this like you were tying in a post on a dry fly. Alright, a way to minute, let everybody catch up pretty quick. The next step is real simple. All you're gonna do is take your thread and you want to take it all the way back. I'm gonna do 2 layers of thread just to really make sure this material is easy to manipulate. Just about back to where the hook starts to turn. So almost to the start of the barb, as you guys can see where my thread's hanging there. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna do another set of cross hatching up the shank.
So because you want it around the side. No, I don't want it around the side. Yep.
And then back down to about there. All right, I'm gonna hang. Oh, you did. Bet you did, Mark. These things are deadly. All right, so we're gonna start. We're just gonna tie our example pattern that came in the box, and you're gonna start with this silver tinsel material. So what I'm gonna do is take a pinch, maybe like 10 fibers or so. Pull that all the way out. If you remember our handy dandy trick I taught you guys the past couple of weeks, we're just gonna double that over our index finger till we get it to the right length.
And then what I do is we're gonna start our thread base.
And then I'm gonna take these up
over and I start wrapping back down
and trim. All right. And now you only want this to be back about to here, so I can see that I'm gonna double this over and get one more trim out of it. And you can see how little of this material when you first trim it, how much quickly it can turn into a lot.
Doing it until it doesn't pull. It's your thread base that locks it onto it, kind of.
So now we've got our little tuft of Flashaboo. So if you guys remember the trick we've been doing with Flash, we're gonna double it over our thread.
Yep, and now
fold it back over itself. And you're gonna pinch it.
Like a quarter of the way.
Grab the tips. Not let your bobbin run away like mine did.
Like a quarter of the way down the shank.
All right, we're gonna get that on top of the shank there. One wrap. And after that, you can kind of take it and manipulate the fibers around the shank of the hook before you really tighten down those straps. And then all you're gonna do, fold these back, get a couple trapping wraps in there, then wrap back over the material.
Yep.
All right, and there we have our tail. Hey Pete, would you mind going to grab me, I think over by the top, the reel station is a red Solo cup of water. Just grab that for me. All right, so now that we've got this tie-in, if you look at your example fly, the whole shank is just thread wraps. So that's gonna be real easy. So all we're gonna do, you wanna make sure these are pretty even and you wanna make sure it's an even thread finish. So you can really kind of go a little crazy with your thread here to make sure all of that brass is covered up. And you really don't have to worry about it much because this material breathes so well that there's no issue with it. It'll just flow around the shank and not really bother it. So now what we're gonna do is take our wrap in front of our bead chain eyes. We're gonna take another clump of some of this tinsel here. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna double it over once, trim it, double it over again, trim it, and then we're gonna tie with it. And it's okay if some of the fibers don't match up. That'll give you a nice little tapered effect. So one. Now I'm gonna double it back over my finger.
Yes. Hunters, bucktail.
Do that.
Farm stands with chickens. Saddle hat.
All right.
With all, like
now we're gonna do the same thing.
It's usually like $65 for a full hat. Like, yeah, full cake.
Double it over your thread.
Like starting on time. You always want to start tying in pairs because then you can split a hat off.
And then what we're gonna do is, again, this bobbin's a little heavy.
Beginning, it can be a little.
So we're gonna tie this in right in front of the eyes.
So
it's okay if it balloons out like that. And then give it a couple trapping wraps. Really don't have to worry about it much. leave some room for our next tie-in. And all we're gonna do is trap the fibers behind the eyes, and we've got the top of our body. All right. Hope everybody's following pretty well. Hey Kyle, what's going on? Hey everybody. All right. So the next step we're gonna do, and don't worry, we're gonna tie 1 or 2 more of these just to make sure. We'll do 1 all gold, and then we'll flip it around, and we'll tie like 4 with us tonight. It's a quick tie. And then we're going to turn. You're gonna take your fly, turn it over, make sure it's level where you want it,
Once you have those 2 loops
and then
to the center, you just pull tight and let the eye kick off sideways.
clamp that puppy.
Get on bottom, yeah.
All right, let everybody catch up real quick.
Yeah, we'll go sideways.
So you can't, that is official.
All right, then we're gonna take our thread and go back in front of our eyes here.
And now what you're gonna do is you guys.
And now we're gonna take out our gold tinsel.
How many rounds?
Just do 2, just to kind of hold them, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this whole thing out. And like always, we give you a lot more than you need to tie all these flies, so feel free to save this, use it in streamers. It's a great accent piece, even for the bodies of some nymphs, it can be fun. So just keep that in mind as you're building your little Postfly tying kit collection. A lot of these materials can be used and repurposed. And we're gonna be doing a video on that pretty soon here. We're gonna do a live fly tying thing like tonight. We're gonna do it with a couple of different patterns you can tie with all of the different packs we've bought and you guys have bought so far. We've tied. All right, so again, same thing. Doubling it over once, doubling it over twice. I'm on my twice here. Trim.
So we're just going. Yep. This is literally figure 8.
Pull it down.
How many of those you want to do?
Do it until it starts to feel a little stable, like they're not going to slide off super easy.
Wrap it around the thread. Get it down in front of the eyes. Get a couple trapping. Avoid the thread going behind the eyes until we get to that point. I'll show you when.
Alright. So you guys feel comfortable with that? Yep,
Ooh.
looks good. Right,
Misbehaving, everybody.
And you're going to like kind of.
What's going on here?
So you're going to go over.
Alright, we're going to reset. Everybody messes up. Something happened in that wrap.
And what that does is it pulls all those.
Get rid of the
you just did nice and tight.
Dissenting fibers here. We're going to try that again. Alright, let's see if this tie-in is any better. Wants to behave. Tie that in. 1, 2, 3. Alright, now I've got the trapping wraps down that I wanted. Keeping tension on that.
They feel nice and pretty stable? Yeah. Alright, now.
Don't worry if you shed some of these fibers, that's why we put a lot in there. You really just want to avoid, I'm putting my hand here to hold the fibers back as I'm making these thread wraps in the front. And then we're going to bring our thread behind the hook. Give it 1, 2, 3. Pull it back up front.
Alright. So we're gonna
there you have your Kreelex.
You don't have to use a head cement on your knife, but I always do, just to make them so that I know they're not going to twist or turn.
Make sure you get the bottom of that too.
Yeah. So with this stuff's nice. They make head cement that dries with air, and they also make stuff with UV light.
Alright, whip finish.
I like this stuff. UV.
We're done.
This little UV stuff.
See how easy that was?
It comes with a couple different applicators.
Really easy pattern.
So I use the brush.
Really effective pattern.
Extra.
Hope everybody is followed along for that first one. If not, we're going to be doing a second one here shortly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Hey everybody. Hey Ted. Hey David.
And then it's just an extra.
So we're going to do another one. Why not? Put that in my handy dandy little done fly holder thing under my vise. So as always, you know, we here at Postfly, we make a lot of really cool tying kits and some cool tying materials and tying tools and all that sort of jazz. So for tuning into this, and to you guys who are here as well, we're going to giving you guys a special promo code. That promo code is Tie with Postfly 10. If you use that at checkout on our page, it'll get you 10% off all tying materials and tying tools and tying kits. And it's a really cool way to continue to get involved and to help support this little endeavor we're doing here. Alright, so let's start on our next Kreelex. Hey Kenneth, what's going on?
How long did you do this for?
Oh, you're good already.
Before I leave, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
Time.
Sorry guys, need a little water break.
Eyes are so freaking small.
Oh, very.
Do you have a tool?
Yes, there's a couple
Alright.
companies that make tools, and they're usually.
So let's start on this next one.
And it's got a slot.
And as always, we're going to put our eyes back a little bit farther than before here.
And then you literally feed the thread.
I'm going to pull it back. One rule of thumb that some guys like to use is you take the length of the bead chain or dumbbell eyes or whatever eyes you're tying on back from the eye of the hook.
Now we're going to take the silver flash of them.
So let me find my bead chain eyes. Wherever those went. There they are. Got them.
So
Alright.
this is kind of a new thing that we're doing. So it's the whole tie with us thing where you
And we're just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, like I said, you want to take about a bead chain eye length back.
Yeah,
Because I need a couple more people to come.
yeah.
We're just gonna have a blast up session.
Yeah, definitely. We've been doing it every Thursday, so.
1, 2, 3. Like I said, remember you're gonna do that trap. Pull it. So tie it in when it's perpendicular to the shank. Give it a couple wraps, and then let it go, and it'll point, and it'll come across. And then you just do a cross, diagonal across the shank of the hook, making these little figure eights here, coming over and under your bead chain eyes. And you can make wraps on one side. You can see how you can kind of manipulate it to turn.
No. I do time videos for the warm water.
So as you can see, I'm going over,
So there's a factory that does both the flats
over,
and time kits, and not only do
over,
a little bit of them, but they
over, like that.
make sure we're all moving in the right direction.
All right. Excuse the turkey call my vice is making.
About like start to finish.
All right, and then we're gonna take it, around the top like a helicopter. Lock down those eyes. Give it a couple little gentle tugs. Make sure it's snug. All right, and then let's take our thread behind our eyes there.
We were talking about the one piece that we have.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Tony, I went fishing with something.
So same thing as before. We're gonna do 2 or 3 layers. We're gonna do 3 layers of thread on this body here. So I'm gonna wrap all the way down the shank here.
The silver.
Then I'm gonna wrap all the way back up, and then we're gonna go back down to the bottom and stop just short of where we're gonna tie in.
You want it longer, you want more materials or less. This is where you get to play around and start to mess around with that kind of stuff.
There we go.
This is just a stockpile that you have to later.
All right, so we're gonna do that same pattern again for everybody who may be just joining us. All right, so we're gonna take another tuft of our silver tinsel here.
Grab it like that.
Those are good.
That's perfect.
Pull that out.
And then you take your scissors, cut it nice and close.
Good to see everybody here.
Zip tie that's on the.
Todd, you are not wrong. Todd had a great point of advice to keep it in the little plastic. I did not heed that, and I am living in a what now looks like a sparkly confetti-filled room. So, don't be like me. Be like Todd. Keep it in the bag. All right. So I did that double over trick. Now I've got my 2 tufts of silver. Make this one a little more sparse. So I'm going to put the second one to the side for the next tie-in. Same thing, you're going to take it, wrap it around your thread,
So what you do is you take it,
double it over like this.
double it over the thread. He's at the same step as us. So you literally just take it, double it over like that.
So you go around.
And then we're going to do our first wrap. Get a couple trapping wraps in there.
All those tails.
And like before, we're just going to kind of work some of these fibers around the other sides of the hook just to kind of get an even tail.
Okay, so.
All right, I'm going to take this opportunity, keeping my thread taut.
Alright, so now
Pull
you're gonna
this
take it, your bobbin,
all the
hand.
fibers
You're gonna bring it so it's straight
to
up
the
above
rear.
fly. And then you're gonna pull the material down towards the hook shank.
It might take you a couple
And now you're gonna make it thread
grabs to
over
get it all.
One loop.
Yep.
You just want to make sure this stuff is nice and secure.
Then
Oh, it could be behind the bead, doesn't have to be that.
Yep.
Can be
Back
anywhere
here.
behind the bead, right?
Exactly.
I just let it go, so that's screwed that hole.
Alright.
Get that nice,
You get it over
nice
there?
and tight.
Alright, so now.
All right, our tail's in
kinda
there.
hard to see, but-
And like I said, we're gonna really just, you want to cover this
You got it
shank.
now?
You don't want any of that brass showing through.
See that?
So I'm gonna do these. That looks
Yep.
about good to me.
Through the eyes.
So now you're
I'm
gonna
gonna wrap
start
forward.
wrapping backwards towards the bend of the hook.
And then I'm gonna come in front of the eyes, right
Start
here.
behind the eyes and just go all the way back.
Yep, work towards the bend of the shank.
All right,
How many wraps are there?
Till you hit
let
the
everybody
shank.
catch up real quick.
Like how far apart?
Take a nice
Pretty
drink of
close.
water
You don't
there.
have to be touching or perfect.
So you so probably
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take
You're wrapping
our
the
second tuft of silver flash bow, and now I've
See
got
how I'm
our
kinda,
thread right up here against the eye of the hook. I'm gonna take
if
that
it spins around the shank, that's totally
back
fine.
one or two wraps.
Because once it gets to the bend, it's all gonna kinda come out the back like that.
All right,
And length.
Same thing, doubling it over that thread.
Is fine because we're gonna cut it to length.
keeping it taut, and then as you pull it, I'm gonna lay it right on top.
So you'll see.
One wrap, two wrap, trap that.
That's the,
And we can trim these little errant fibers if we want.
Yeah. So that's what you're gonna have it look
A
like.
couple.
Yep.
And it's okay if some of these fibers come out, it's not the end of the world. We can always trim
No,
them
that's
later.
so fun because what you're gonna, so once you get to the bend,
All right.
you're gonna go
So I'm gonna
back,
pull
you're
this
gonna go
forward.
and that's when you can do the
And these little guys, you can either choose to trim these ones that are sticking out. Either way, they're just gonna make it more buggy and give it a little bit more of a wiggle and a different flash. So it's up to you. If there's a perfectionist in you that,
When you
like
need
there
those
is in me,
connecting wraps is when that thread is the body of
then
the
I need to do
flower.
that.
See it.
There you go.
like the bones.
Yep.
So now what we're gonna do is that little thing we did last time, which is we're gonna flip our hook over. So take it out of your vise,
Behind the eyes.
turn the hook point up.
Style.
Yep.
Wrap it.
We're gonna clamp that back down. All right, let everybody catch up, get your flies flipped. Hey, Crystal, happy Friday. Crystal's one of our regulars. She watches every week. Love Crystal. Fortunately, she's a Penn State fan.
I was just gonna say, she's the one with the Penn State
So
logo
is
on
my
her
son.
Facebook.
My son of ours too.
Yeah, I
I
went to...
can't lie, I've been watching the Goldberg show, and they're all about Penn
Penn
State.
State.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a good show.
so we're gonna double that over. Remember our usual double it over, cut it.
Fun. This fly, it's flashy, it's made to grab attention and fall trout fishing with streamers, that's what it's all about.
And then we're gonna double it over again.
Orange hairs like for perch.
No.
Just do green, orange.
Trim this.
There's 6 pounds coming off on.
Yep. There's a fly that's called the low fat minnow.
All right, and then same thing as before. Double it over your thread.
So it looks pretty similar to this guy, but instead,
That's the green it is.
And
so instead of
Yeah,
white,
flop it down on top of the
yellow,
shank.
green, it's
Couple trapping wraps. Again, you can see I've got some fibers that aren't behaving. So be careful when you're holding it back to not prick yourself.
Good bass.
I bet.
And then I'm holding that.
Just like the
You can see with this, my left hand, I'm holding back this material to make sure more of these don't happen.
It sounds exactly like the fly I tie.
So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna trim these real quick, and the rest will kind of get trapped when we wrap. We make our little thread head here.
I strip it back in. Yep. And I
So I'm just gonna fill this in, make this a nice little taper at the top of the streamer here.
It's gonna, push back up and make these.
And as you can see, this looks a lot like your handy dandy clouser, and that's what it was inspired by.
Easier to tie than this guy, mostly because it doesn't have the eyes, and it's a lot of the. So the center tie is what that technique we just did with the flashes. That's this
Flip
whole
that, tighten that down. Boom shakalaka, you got your second
not foam head.
Kreelex.
Probably the size of marble.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Hey Matt, what's going on? See you later.
Yeah, it's probably twice the size of like
So,
Yep.
just want to say thank you again
So
to
you ready for the next step?
all of our viewers with us today and who are tying with us and who might just be stopping by to hang out. Thank you all.
Make it the length.
Really glad to have you. Wouldn't be able to do this without you guys and without our tribe. So
to get it there, or
let's keep it up. I'm really loving this. I hope you guys are too. And let's start our third one. On this one, maybe we'll do, what do you guys think? All silver, all gold? Audience, what are you guys doing? All silver?
Both.
Alright, we're going to do all silver.
Silver.
We're going to go silver. We're just going to keep this simple. Alright, so this next one, like I've said a couple times, all silver, all day long.
As you progress into time, you'll realize that you can get a lot of, like your material can go way farther than you would ever imagine.
Alright, so we're going to get this one started. Sorry for that little pause right there. Same thing, we're going to
Oh, you have no idea.
get this down.
Covered with fly tying stuff, and I'm getting ready to go to New York.
Just boxes.
Yeah, like I keep the fly boxes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
All right, so
I keep material in that. I also
Sometimes do have some here, like 10.
Of what? Just random materials?
No, just
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah. I can use some boxes. Yeah.
going to take our bead chain eyes here. Remember, we're going to keep them parallel to the hook when we start. So we're going to get one wrap over the middle, two wraps over the middle, and as you can see, now just by the weight of the bobbin, it'll hold itself there.
So this time, you don't have to.
All right. So now we're gonna get a couple more. We're gonna tie in our flies. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not pulling as far enough right as I want it to, so I'm gonna keep going on this side until it gets over to perpendicular, and then I'll start doing it every other and keeping it even across here. Alright, so I think I've got enough. With these little bead chain eyes, you don't really need to make a ton of wraps. You tend to need to be a little heavier handed with your thread when it's a saltwater tie, but not as much on a freshwater. Alright, so now we've got our eyes on there. If you have UV epoxy or super glue or whatever and you want to do that, now would be a great time to put a little dot right in the middle of your bead chain eyes to really cement in those eyes. We're not going to do it tonight because it'll take too long to dry and all that jazz, but that would be the perfect time to get that stuff in there. And then, as before, we're going to wrap down the shank, up and down the shank once. So we get right about back to there. That's where I'm going to stop.
All right.
And come all the way forward, cross-hatching or cross-wrapping. This just really helps the thread latch onto itself and not slip. Alright, we're going to stop right about at the hook point there. Now we're going to take another tuft of this silver flash.
Same thing,
Yep. So you're just going to work it up. Yep.
Got some fibers that want to play and other ones that don't. I'm just going to keep pulling these until I get the short ones even with the long ones.
Yep. And then this one,
get rid of some of those spare fibers. I don't need them.
Alright, so I'm
just enough to hold them down.
Alright, we're going to double it over. Trim.
wrap down.
Double that over again. And trim. Alright, we can pull these ones that are not behaving out. Flick it out, get rid of some of the scraps there. We're going to be covered in silver stuff when we're done. Hey, everybody?
Yeah, right.
Alright, so I'm going to wrap this, doing our... this technique is called center tying. I call it tying because it's how I tie in all my materials that are long and straggly.
Flash can be...
So, we're just going to get that, and again, we're going to use our thumb to manipulate the fibers around the shank a little bit, just to give it a more rounded tail and keep it even. Oop, unless it's going to run away from me. It ran away from me, everybody. This is a lesson in thread tension. Keep it tight, everybody.
So, when you guys are ready, so you'll see it's got levels. So that top one you're going to trim so it matches where the bend is.
All right, now let's try that again. Put that in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's in, now I'm gonna wrap over top of it. Gonna get a couple of wraps over top of that material, make sure it's really doubled down. Pete, can you grab me a double bunny kit when you get a moment? I'm just gonna wrap this all the way down. This next pattern I think you guys are going to enjoy quite a bit. It's a little bit of a remix on this, and it's one of my favorite patterns to tie, and it's one of my favorite striper and smallmouth baitfish patterns that I have. Alright, so just like I said before, once you kind of taper this off to make sure none of that extra silver stuff's showing.
Yeah, traditionally it's not quite so far down, but honestly that would be,
and
that would work.
make sure the shank is all covered and that no grass is showing through here. I'm gonna wrap that back down. Wrap it back up, and as we've done before, we're gonna wrap it just shy of the eye of the hook here. So you can see that. I'm gonna grab a quick drink.
Definitely not enough material.
You can see where it's tied in on this one. It's tighter.
All right.
Like that. Honestly, mine isn't that tight, and I wouldn't be that worried. You can see it there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take another set of these fibers. And you can do gold if you want to keep with that two-tone. That's fine. We're just trying to mix it up a little bit. Keep it interesting for the folks out down at home.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Right? Plus, you got to think too.
How's everybody doing? Where's everybody from?
The whole thing's going to be kind of covered.
Hey, Sean. Yep.
Kind of catches your eye anyway.
Always learning. I always learn something new every time I sit down in my vise, whether it's learned a lesson or learned a new technique or whatever. I always leave the vise with a new lesson.
Is the longer part, and then that shoulder section is cut to.
We're going to cut that.
A little bit longer.
So we get these. I'll pull these longer fibers out. I don't want them.
This is the tail.
Get rid of them there.
This top section right here, and it's
all right.
To the length.
Same as before. I'm going to start a little bit close. Woo. What just happened there? Start there.
It's all about learning.
Yeah.
We are always learning here at Tie with Postfly.
All right.
Everybody makes mistakes, right, Sean?
That's perfect. That will work. It just creates.
All right, so we're going to get that down. 1, 2, 3. Get some trapping wraps. Make sure that material's not going to move. And then we're going to wrap it down behind the eyes. 2, 3, 4. Get that nice and taut. And move our thread back to where we started. All right. Just going to scroll up. Sean, where are you from? Are those accents how your name is spelled, or did you just try to get funky on Facebook? I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. It's Shayon O'Neill with 2 L's and a bunch of accents. All right, everybody. So now we're coming to the step where we flip our hook over.
All right.
We're going to put that.
I got probably about that much.
Right. And there. So now you can see that.
Yeah, see, I got. So this is the side I'm going to cut.
And then we're going to take another little
Maybe a third.
Bunch of these silver fibers.
So you can take. Your scissors. Just don't stab your fingers.
All right.
And then pull out a section.
And then I'm going to double it over one more time. Getting this nice and locked in here.
Yep, that's beautiful.
Then you're going to double it over the thread as usual.
It's easier for you in the beginning to cut it long. Cut it long. If not, it's going to be the same.
We're going to tie this in right here.
We just did, so
get a couple wraps down. Wrap this back to right in front of the eyes.
So you can cut it long if you want.
And voila, it is a Kreelex. There we go.
Yep.
All right, everybody. So we're gonna get a little tricky with it tonight. This is a little remix pattern I just got inspired to do. So if you don't, those of you tying with us, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we tied the double bunny streamer. That's another warm water streamer pattern. And we're just gonna borrow one rabbit strip from this pack. So if you have this pack, awesome. If not, you can buy it on our website. Using that, remember to use that code TieWithPostfly10 to get 10% off of the kit. This is something we're going to start trying to do is show you how you can use other materials that you get in other kits to branch out and get a little bit more creative with your tying. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take, all we need is the Kreelex materials and one zonker strip, white zonker strip, or whatever color you really want to do. And then the rest is all the Kreelex materials. So all we're going to do is start the same way we've started the Kreelex.
How do you wrap when you move to get it to the top bit? Okay, I got it up here.
Yep. So if you're having a hard time doing it that way?
No, I got it. I went this way.
You can go like this.
So we're going to start our thread here.
Nope, I'm just, yep. Exactly.
Same as before, we're going to tie in a set of those bead chain dumbbell eyes here.
The old flash mess.
Oh
Yep.
God.
Flash should be very effective, but a pain to tie with.
Alright, so remember starting parallel, 1, 2,
This is like
it'll
the
pop,
number one most effective fly in the world. Though.
and it'll hang,
You can catch freaking
and it'll hold itself. So now you're gonna, once that's there, 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna cross and do the other side.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
See you, Brian?
Yeah, it's kind of a mess now.
You can see all I'm doing here is pulling
Do it that way. And you're
this
really
back
the same
so it's
way
perpendicular
all
the way I
flashes
want it.
got. So double it over. Yep. And then lift
I'm
the
gonna do it the
flash
other
up
side like this.
and slide it down to the shank.
And to finish it off, like I've been doing, we're gonna do this helicopter move, where we're gonna come around all that thread we've just tied in,
Going for my second bundle.
just to cinch it down.
The first one.
I'm not gonna lie, we have bins that are twice as big as this guy. We got two of them full of these bins.
All right.
Playing flash for you.
Then-
Playing flash.
We're gonna wrap back down the shank.
Okay, now I got this.
Alright, so I did the 2 wraps. I got
Yep.
All right, we're just gonna, remember the same thing, we're gonna cross hatch
Yeah, just make a couple more wraps. Go
across
back
this
over it, just
shank
so that
here.
way
over
when
the
you-
eyes, kind of like the figure.
All right, and then we're gonna tie in
Where you tied it in, working back this way. That way
some,
when you let go of the flash, it doesn't stand
like,
straight up.
we're gonna take 2 strands of the silver, and we're gonna double it over like we did before. Double it over once, trim it, double it over again, trim it.
Oh yeah, you're kind of right.
And this is really just an exercise in you know, being a little bit creative with the materials you have. Be willing to make some mistakes, and who knows, at the end of the day you might come out with a new streamer pattern that's gonna destroy, or you just have a new fly that you can say, huh, that's not how to do it.
Pull and slide it out one side.
I'm gonna take this,
The whole thing?
Yep, and then you can just redo it.
wrap that down,
I had to do the same thing. So.
and now we've got our tail.
Is that still enough?
You
Yeah,
add a
so-
little bit more to
I
it.
have some more right there.
And you know what we're gonna do? We're also gonna borrow some of this Flashaboo from the double bunny kit.
Now you're good.
Todd, it is a rotary, but it starts losing.
Yep.
It's not a true rotary where it would stay clipped, so that's why I've kind of switched from it. But you are correct. It is a rotary. You just have to loosen that. It's a little tight.
Patch it up. Yep.
So I'm going to take a little bit of this Flashaboo here too.
Go up and over?
1 strand from the double bunny kit. And what we're going to do right here is we're going to take our double bunny. I'm going to measure out
That way I can.
where the fibers are going to come over top of the flash and stop there. And kind of when I figure out that point, what I'm going to do is separate the fibers in the double bunny and make like a little channel here. And that's, see, that's about right. I've got my fibers trapped in front between my right hand, forefinger, and thumb. And then once I've got that lined up, I'm going to switch hands. Or not switch hands. I'm going to get my trapping wrap with my left hand here.
No silver, but I'm gonna add
The gold looks good.
Yeah,
From here, it looks like
the gold looks
Then we're going to get those
silver,
wraps
but
in
maybe
there.
I gotta maybe add some more silver.
And then once you've kind of got that tension, then you can free up your hand.
I like my problem closer, but if you
I'm
like
going to add a couple more wraps here.
So I
Once it's in there, you can kind of get your hand away from it.
So like this, I'm gonna hold on to.
All right, so you can see how we've got here. We've got our free shank.
So what I'm doing right now, I'm just getting everything.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that strand of pearl flashaboo. Actually, oh yeah. Or you can take your silver flash that came in the Kreelex kit here. And all we're gonna do is use this to line the shank of the hook just to give it a little bit more of a flash as it's in the water. You just need to tie this in, then pull your thread forward. And now all I'm doing is just making sure all this shank is covered with the shiny material. Like I said, you can use either of the flashes from your Kreelex kit, or I'm using a Barrage Flashaboo from the Double Bunny kit.
Now, tying with the flash might have not been the perfect first fly, but it's kind of a good crash course.
Is there? Should
And so we're just going to keep wrapping forward.
I put the gold on the top?
Sorry, this is taking a little bit longer than intended, but this is going to be a pretty cool streamer when it's done. And now I'm going to take my thread, wrap it around this material once, pick it up, and then use that wrap to lock it in. And that just helps lock in your material a little bit better. I'm going to do a couple finishing wraps.
So now,
right here.
looks like you did good with the gold though.
Not bad.
No, hey.
And then I'm going to trim that flash
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah.
And now
I gotta get one of those magnifiers.
what you're going to do is you're going to figure out where on your rabbit strip
Yeah, I have one at home. My wife
is right behind the eyes of the hook.
So now I should cut this gold.
To the length of the short.
So I figured that out. Again, you're using that little V separation technique. So you're going to push all this hair in the back, and the front you're going to separate and make a nice little channel there. And then with your thread behind your eyes, make one trapping wrap here. And then just like with before, get my thread short here. I'm going to add
You might have missed some of the fibers.
2. Keeping that tight.
See how I kind of worked back over it?
Oh, yeah.
You might have
3,
missed a couple of them. And by
4. All right, and then we're going to trim our zonker right where we tied.
Yeah.
All right. And now we're going to finish the head off. And I'm going to give that a couple more. Make sure these fibers are back. Give that a couple more wraps. Get that secure. All right, and then the rest, the front of the fly is exactly like the Kreelex. So we're gonna wrap, once we kind of got this little bulky part down, we're gonna wrap back in front, get to about there.
Yeah.
I gotta clean this.
Oh, Sean, yeah, they would have. Pete over here is helping our two in-classroom guys. He's heading up for the Salmon River this weekend.
I'm counting the seconds.
Where are you going?
All right.
Lasky, New York for the Salmon River.
And then we're going to take a little tuft of our silver flash from the Kreelex kit. Again, using the double it over and cut and double it over and cut. Just double it over. Trim it. And then double it over.
Yeah.
And more or less like going up the salmon run.
Yeah.
The burgers were so warm.
Trim it again.
Yeah.
In like May. It's like they might not run.
And then same as before, just double it over.
Who owns Bullock's Lodge.
Yeah.
And
that was the guy at the panel.
Pinch it.
Yes, and he owns the lodge. And
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, come
All right.
more than happy to have you. Like,
That's
he
awesome.
knew my friend.
Yeah.
There was just no connection over email.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna trap it back, wrap, wrap, wrap. Give it 1 or 2 wraps behind the eyes.
September, they didn't run.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I mean, they summer ran.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna pull that back forward.
This is not going to catch anything.
You would be really surprised.
It's not even.
All right. Now for our gold.
Now that I've done it once, I could do it again.
Yep, but that's the whole point. You're gonna mess up
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
The first flies, like that's.
Oh, dude, I mess up in front of our lovely audience here.
Yeah.
Don't I, everybody? I mess up. I make mistakes.
Some of these videos I've done.
All right, everybody.
Here, I have.
We're gonna finish up this pattern with gold, just like we finished up the Kreelex with some gold.
And then once it clicks,
Yeah.
it's second nature.
And once you get this down.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
double that over.
Exactly. We're gonna tie it.
I can make that perch.
Oh yeah, yep. Or all white. Another good one is blue and silver.
Trim that up. All right, then we're gonna do our nice little center tie here at the top to finish her off.
On the blue and silver, yep. Another thing that loves these is pike and pickerel. The blue and silver one, for some reason, they love it.
Then we're gonna wrap this down.
And 2.5 foot paper on.
Oh really?
I have
All right.
I caught my pretty big one with the artichoke right down here.
Oh,
Yeah. Super surprised and that.
All right, these are a little long, so I'm gonna kind of trim them up.
Oh yeah.
What
Yep.
fly line do you have with it?
Trim that up.
I was using a 6-weight at our streamer rod.
Create our nice little thread dam here.
Fiberglass rods. I catch carp with fiberglass rods.
And
that's my niche.
there you go. So now we've got this kind of little, it's a little
This guy right
meatier.
here,
It's gonna push,
be your best friend, but you're gonna hate it in the beginning.
he's gonna push you,
Sure.
push a little bit more water and be a little bit more appetizing to a fish that might be a little bit more visually inclined. This is a really nice little, and you can change up, with the cool thing with the Kreelex is you can change up the size of your dumbbell eyes. You can change up the colors, you can change up anything really. You could, I mean, if you tie it with bucktail instead of the flash, all of a sudden it's a clouser. So all this little darter is just gonna look like a gold and silver flashy fish. You could even, maybe not even do this bottom tuft and just keep it like that. Now you've got a little golden shiner pattern. But, yep, again everybody, after this remix, I don't know what we'll call this. Why don't you guys come up with a name in the comments for me for that pattern.
Deception.
But once again, thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Again, like we did last week, this next week's pattern will be posted in the comments, as well as the promo code for you all to use. I'm Dan. Pete's been over here helping out some other guys. I really hope this new camera setup helped you guys out a lot and made it a little bit easier to follow along with the tie. Again, this is a learning opportunity, so keep the feedback up in the comments. We'll keep trying to improve and make this thing the best thing possible. Awesome. See you guys next week. This has been Tie with Postfly.
You're going to take this and put it parallel with the rod shank. And as you do it, you see how it's flipping up. And what all you do is you just keep, and you'll notice this thread that's parallel doesn't wrap around the shank. Alright, once you do it a few times, you just go straight up,